You ever watch a movie and halfway through you're like, wait, what just happened? Yeah, that's exactly the vibe we're going for today, because I've got a Netflix movie list so packed with plot twists, it'll have your brain doing gymnastics. I'm Sidz, this is Binge Watch with Sidz, and trust me, the closer we get to number 1, the more your jaw's gonna hit the floor. So grab a snack, maybe even a notebook to keep up, and let's dive in. Number 10, Delicious 2025.
Everything is delicious. The old word is.
So picture this, a wealthy English family decides to spend their vacation in sunny France. Sounds dreamy, right? But here's where it gets weird. After a little incident, and I'm being nice calling it that, they hire this young woman they've never met before to be their housekeeper while they're away. Yeah, because trusting complete strangers always works out so well in thrillers. At first, she's all smiles and polite charm, but as Delicious rolls on, you start to feel it. Something's off. And trust me, you're not wrong. This girl's cooking up something way darker than a 5-course French dinner. The movie throws some sharp jabs about class differences, and honestly, the rich family here, they're not exactly the kind of people you'd root for. In fact, the final twist is so nasty, it might make you want to take a shower afterward. Now, here's my honest take. It's a slow burn, like really slow. I'm talking check your phone halfway through slow, but if you stick with it, the payoff is a wicked little gut punch. Not my favorite of the bunch, which is why it's down here at number 10. But if you've got patience and a taste for dark thrillers, this one will leave you feeling just a little uneasy in the best way. Number 9, The Call 2020.
끝까지 가지고 있어. 내가 다시 바꿀 수 있으니까.
Alright, moving on to something even more twisted, and this one doesn't waste any time getting started. The Call is a South Korean thriller that basically grabs you by the collar in the first few minutes and says, we're doing this now. If you've ever seen the Dennis Quaid movie Frequency, you know, the one where he talks to his future son over a ham radio, this is kinda like that, but way darker. Here we've got two women living decades apart, somehow able to talk to each other through a phone. And yes, there's a serial killer in the mix. Because why not? Now, Frequency was more of a wholesome PG-13 time travel vibe. The Call? Nope. This one is pure, edge-of-your-seat, Korean-style darkness. And when Korea does thrillers, they do thrillers. If you're into serial killer mysteries, this one's a treat. But what makes it stand out is the heavy supernatural twist, the kind of eerie, reality-bending stuff that makes you go, wait, that could never happen, right? And yet, in the world of this movie, it totally could. Trust me, some of the sequences here are so unique, they just wouldn't work in any other story. Creepy, clever, and completely addictive, that's The Call. Number 8, Until Dawn, 2025.
I can't. No, please, no!
Stuck in time.
Alright, so number 8 is one of the newest horror flicks to hit Netflix. Like, fresh out of the oven, new. They literally just added it. And yeah, I clicked play immediately, haha. At first, Until Dawn totally sets you up to think you're in for a cover your eyes kind of scary ride. Honestly, my wife wasn't even sure she was gonna make it past the opening scenes. And I can't blame her. The first half hour, pretty intense. But here's the twist. About 30 minutes in, this little time manipulation gimmick kicks in. And instead of getting scarier, the movie starts leaning more into the mind-bendy what the heck is going on territory. The scares kind of mellow out, which might sound like a bad thing, but for me, it was actually refreshing. Sure, you'll spot a few familiar horror tropes, creepy noises, shadowy hallways, all that. But the creative stuff, the new ideas, that's what hooked me. This would be a perfect Halloween season watch. Although, knowing Netflix, I wouldn't be shocked if it disappears before October. Fun fact, this is the first time I'm mentioning Until Dawn here on the channel, and it's easily one of the most mind-bending Netflix originals I've seen in years, which makes total sense, because it's from writer-director Charlie Kaufman, and if you know his work, you know the guy doesn't do normal. Number 7, I'm Thinking of Ending Things 2020.
Oh, hi. Oh, it's all wet.
Now, if that name sounds familiar, he's famous for writing movies like Being John Malkovich, Adaptation with Nicolas Cage, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and more. But this is one that he directed, and whenever he's behind the camera, it's way more bizarre. Like, if you've never seen Synecdoche, New York, I'm thinking of Ending Things is somehow weirder, yet it also somehow makes more sense, which somehow makes less sense to me. Now, I'll warn you now, like, this movie is only for people who like really bizarre stuff. I mean, this just goes into such mind-warping directions. It's like a dream. It feels like a nightmare. Yet it's mind-blowing to me how he can do that. Like, how does this movie actually feel as glued together as it does? Same goes for David Lynch movies. I do not understand how they can be so strange and somehow still make so much sense. This is one of those kinds of movies, not really as dark and twisted as a David Lynch movie, but I would say, if you love decoding David Lynch flicks, I'm thinking of Ending Things has a very different flavor, but it's a similar viewing experience. Number 6, Mirage 2018.
The street tonight. Tomorrow you'll be dead. Nico, please don't go out of the street! Don't go, a car will run you over!
Alright, number 6 takes us to Spain, and yeah, I'll admit, this one has a little bit of a soap opera vibe at times, but stick with me here, because Mirage is packed with twists, turns, and this subtle supernatural hook that really takes it to another level. The whole thing kicks off during a lightning storm, and not just any lightning storm. This one somehow sparks a time paradox, where one tiny change ripples through the past and completely rewrites the present. If you've seen any time travel movie before, you know the rule. Mess with the past, and you're basically asking for trouble. Through a strange, once-in-a-lifetime connection across time, our main character, a woman just living her normal life, ends up saving a young boy. Sounds heroic, right? Except, yeah, that good deed ends up wrecking her own life in ways she never saw coming. What I really like here is that Mirage doesn't drown you in supernatural effects the whole time. Instead, it lets the weird event happen and then focuses on the human side. The desperation, the how do I fix this part is spiral. And trust me, she really needs to put things back the way they were. I won't spoil the exact twists, but just know, they keep stacking on each other like a Jenga tower about to fall over. And if you end up liking Mirage, you should definitely check out the director's other movie, The Invisible Guest. That one's a gem too.
Number 5, The Perfection 2018.
What's happening? What's happening? Oh my god.
It is a twisted psychological horror thriller that starts like a quiet drama about two gifted cellists, but quickly spirals into one of the most unpredictable rides you'll ever experience. The film follows Charlotte, a troubled former prodigy, and Lizzie, the new star pupil, whose meeting sets off a bizarre chain of events involving obsession, manipulation, and a dark secret at the heart of their prestigious music academy. What makes The Perfection so fascinating is how it constantly pulls the rug from under you. You think you know where it's going, and then it veers into a completely different, often disturbing direction. Personally, I loved how it blended elegance with chaos, almost like a beautiful symphony that suddenly explodes into noise. And while it's not for the faint of heart, if you enjoy movies that are bold, shocking, and keep you guessing until the very last frame, this one will absolutely leave you speechless.
Number 4, Bandersnatch 2018.
Alright, now we're getting into some really mind-bending territory. My number 4 pick is Bandersnatch, which, if you didn't know, is a special standalone episode of Black Mirror. It's not tied to any specific season, so you can jump right in. Depending on how you play it, yeah, I said play. It can run as long as a full-length movie. And I call it play because this isn't your typical sit back and watch type of deal. Nope. Here, you are in the driver's seat. You make the decisions as the story unfolds, left or right, yes or no, and every single choice changes where things go next. Netflix has done interactive stuff before, sure, but it's usually lighthearted, kid-friendly stuff. I've played a bunch of those with my kids, but Bandersnatch? Yeah. This one's not for the little ones. What I love is that it's not just some gimmick. The choose-your-own-adventure format fits the story perfectly, and just when you think, okay, I've got this figured out, nope. The narrative flips on you in ways you did not see coming, even though you were technically the one steering it. It's clever, it's immersive, and honestly, it'll break your brain in the best way possible. If you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend giving it a go. And yes, before anyone asks in the comments, this one will still surprise you. Number 3, The Platform, 2020. Alright, my number 3 pick, another wild ride from Spain, but this time it leans hard into these weird, supernatural sci-fi vibes that completely take over everything. And despite how complex it feels, the setup is actually super simple. A guy wakes up in this tiny cell. He's got one roommate, and once a day, a giant platform covered in food slowly lowers down to them. Sounds okay so far, right? Yeah, well, here's the catch. You only get whatever scraps are left after the people above you have eaten. Oh, and it gets worse. Every single month, you wake up on a totally different level. That means one month you might be eating like royalty, and the next you might be starving. It's brutal. The metaphor here? Pretty obvious, almost too obvious for my taste, but I still love how they ran with it. The movie just keeps spiraling into these wild, unpredictable directions. Honestly, by the end, I'm not even sure I understood everything they were trying to say, but along the way, oh yeah, I got it. And I loved it. It's the kind of movie that sticks in your head for days, making you think about human nature, greed, and survival. And yeah, there is a sequel, The Platform 2. I didn't find it nearly as good. It kind of rehashes the same beats. But the first one, fresh, disturbing, and ridiculously effective.
Number 2, it's What's Inside 2024.
What are you doing? Did something! I'm freaked out right now, okay? You're acting like a different...
Okay, my number 2 pick is one of those rare Netflix originals that actually blew me away. And I don't say that lightly. You know how a lot of Netflix movies can feel a bit samey? Like you've seen this flavor before? Well, this one breaks the mold completely. That's because Netflix didn't make it from scratch. They scooped it up off the festival circuit, and oh man, it feels fresh, unique, almost like it stumbled onto Netflix by accident, in the best way possible. The movie's called It's What's Inside, and the premise is deceptively simple. Picture this, a group of 20-something friends, old pals, getting together for a little party. Then one of them rolls in, this super successful tech guy, and he brings along an experimental gadget. And what does it do? Swaps your brain with someone else's. Yeah, just switch. They treat it like a party game. Everyone takes turns, and in a flash, they're walking around in each other's bodies. It's kind of like Freaky Friday, except imagine a whole group doing it at once. And the kicker? These friends have secrets. Not just, oh, I stole your socks in high school secrets. We're talking life-altering stuff. What follows is this chaotic guessing game because you never really know who you're talking to. Number 1, Parasyte the Grey, 2025. Alright, after all that, what could possibly take the crown? Now, I know, some of you might roll your eyes at this one because, yeah, it's an Oscar winner. And on this channel, that almost never happens. But honestly, I couldn't not put it here. My number 1 pick is Parasyte, and wow, this movie is stacked with twists. Even now, years later, I can think about certain moments and still get that, wait, what? From the outside, it looks like this vibrant, slightly quirky story from South Korea. But from the very first watch, you can feel something brewing under the surface. You just have no idea how far it's going to go. The crazy part? It's not just one twist. It's like every 15 minutes the movie flips the table on you. And once you pass the halfway mark, oh boy, buckle up. Sure, it's got something to say about class divides, kind of like Delicious, but in my opinion, Parasyte handles it sharper, deeper, and with way more impact. By the end, you're not just entertained, you're left chewing on the story long after the credits roll. In terms of pure twisty storytelling, honestly, Parasyte is almost impossible to beat.
That's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive and maybe learned something new along the way. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss future uploads. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let's chat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.